Tonight on Canon and Cogito, did Anakin really bring balance to the Force? Was the fall of the Republic inevitable? And were the Jedi wrong all along? Let's get into it. Welcome to Canon and Cogito, I Think, Therefore Fandom. I'm Josh, and tonight we're heading into a galaxy far, far away to dig into balance, democracy, and the eternal tug of war between light and dark. And my guest tonight is the Hendolorian. Fellow Star Wars fan and Twitch streamer, Hendo definitely has more Star Wars knowledge than I do. But today we're digging into the philosophies of the series. Hendo, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, your connection to Star Wars, and maybe what your favorite lightsaber design is.
Cool. Hey, well, hello everybody. I am Hendolorian. You can call me Hendo. Known Wendor for almost 2 years now, so a year and a half. I have been in Star Wars ever since I could remember. I remember vividly like prequel merch from when I was like a very all toys and all that when I was a very young age. Ever since then, as I've gotten older, I've gotten more into Star Wars. I've been more appreciative of Star Wars, just overall as a franchise and an IP. It's my favorite overall. My favorite Star Wars, my lightsaber design.
Whoa, whoops.
Good.
Yeah, we're good.
That gives me time to think. So that's a good question. I would have to say Dooku's. That curved handle, man.
Yeah,
I also think Darth Sidious's sabers are pretty underrated as well.
I agree. Man, Dooku's curved lightsaber, I remember seeing the second movie in theaters, and he pulls out this lightsaber, and I'm like, that is the coolest frickin' thing I've ever seen. Holy cow. All right.
Also Darth Maul. Can't forget him.
Absolutely. Just because he comes from a movie that was not great when it came out does not mean he's not the coolest Sith.
Yeah. Not to mention the story they built on him after that.
Yeah.
Even after getting chopped in half.
Oh, man. I mean, he comes back in Clone Wars as recently as 2022, 2023, like when Disney picked it up and started reproducing it.
Yeah, the Siege of Mandalore arc.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
All right. Well, let's kick things off with the first save point. Which Sith Lord has the absolute coolest aesthetic? Vader, Maul, Palpatine, Dooku, or Ventress? And what makes them stand out for you?
It's got to be Darth Vader. Most iconic, in my opinion, the most iconic movie villain of all time. I mean, everyone wants to joke about aura farming. I mean, the man literally invented it. It's got to be Vader. He's just everything about him. The way he moves, the way he steals every scene he's in. Even when he was in Rogue One for less than 5 minutes, and he was the best part of it, probably.
So
yeah, it's got to be Vader.
What I like about Darth Vader is he transcends pop culture, in everything. He's in everything, Star Wars or not. You see some sort of Darth Vader reference, and I think that takes a real amount of power to be able to do that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, whether it be a quote or his breathing.
His breathing's everywhere. So if you had to cosplay one of these for a con, who would you pick? And please say Ventress.
Yeah, Ventress would be pretty good, huh? Ventress or an unmasked Vader, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have the hair to pull off Dooku or Palpatine. So.
I get that. Oh, but you could probably do Maul.
True. Yeah, I could do Maul. I think the paint would get hot, though.
The paint would suck.
I'm very touchy about heat. starts sweating.
Would
Yeah, Ventress.
would Darth Vader be as iconic without his aesthetic edge?
Hmm. I think for me, based in the original movies, it James Earl Jones' voice is just so powerful and like it makes you sit up straight and like, oh, this guy is in charge. So unless like they designed him like to have like a windmill on top of his head or just something that just looks completely, I'm sure there's concept art out there of whatever George originally wanted it to do. But I think the aesthetic definitely helped a lot. So it's tough to say.
I think it's really interesting, especially in a time where, like, you're not relying on special effects and everything in the 1970s and the 1980s. Instead, you get this really cool aesthetic that's all handmade. It's all ready to go from a movie producer's standpoint. But yeah, I think they likely could have had him in a different thing. I think James Earl Jones makes the movie. I mean, I saw the original Star Wars long before I saw Sandlot, and like him being in Sandlot is just this huge thing because you're like, that's Darth Vader.
Yeah. Also, I can't watch Lion King without hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
Or even Coming to America. He's the king. But yeah, I mean, even Spaceballs, they make fun of how goofy his helmet actually is. Because if you sit down and look at it, it's a goofy looking helmet. But it's because it's Vader. It's like, all right, that's Lord Vader.
That is my favorite spoof of all time, though. I love Spaceballs.
Yeah, so I'm excited for the next one.
I am too. I am so excited for the next one.
127, right?
God, I hope we don't have to wait that long, but probably.
Man.
I want Mel Brooks. I want Mel Brooks to live to see the release, and the longer out it is, the more I get concerned that he won't.
That's valid.
All right, I'm going to bring up the timer. We're going to move into the thought save. You've got 2 minutes to defend or rebut this hot take. No middle ground. Rogue One is the most important Star Wars story.
Yeah, I think I would have to defend that.
Okay.
Just because it's one of those unknown. It's a turning point. It's the dictating moment in Star Wars history where this is either going to go this way or pretty much deciding whether the Empire was going to win or not win at that moment or not, because there's always going to be a rebellion to the Empire. But that was such a huge turning point in the war for the rebels. They get obliterated without knowing how to even stop the Death Star, because there's no way that they would have been able to. And yeah, so I mean, the rebellion that I can't think of the lead scientist Jyn Erso's father did, enabling the rebels to actually be able to destroy the Death Star, is just huge. Because I mean, we think really we don't have those series without them destroying the Death Star. It's just Empire ruling and being evil.
Oh, go ahead. Keep going.
No, it's just, it's definitely, gun to my head, definitely the most important story. So I have no problem defending that hot take.
So does its message about sacrifice hit harder than any Jedi versus Sith story?
I think so. Because it's a group of people who are not as powerful as a Jedi or a Sith, making a bigger impact on the universe. And it was a collective effort.
Agreed. with its existence, does A New Hope carry a brand new weight?
One more time?
With it existing, does A New Hope carry a brand new weight?
Oh, okay. I think so. Yeah, you realize what it took for them to get there. That's always been my favorite part, is what the rebels had to do to kind of like what Andor's about, what they had to do, get down in the nitty gritty, dark kind of fight fire with a little bit in order to get that upper edge and to get those plans.
Have you watched any of Andor?
I've watched season 1. I have been slacking on season 2.
I know this because I wrote this before I watched Andor. This is going to carry a different kind of connotation, but is it the only story that actually shows the cost of the rebellion?
I'm trying to think. It might be that shows it that way, because I mean, if we kind of look at other media, Clone Wars was about the clones. It's not really the rebellion. I mean, so I guess you get elements of that, like what it takes to, fight for good. But I think in other movies, he kind of just brushes past it, and/or really gets into the nitty and gritty, what they have to do.
The only other line that I think hits as hard as either Andor or A New Hope is, many Bothans died to bring us this information. Like, that carries that kind of weight, even though we're not seeing the Bothans die.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and even Saul. Yeah, Saul, even his dialogue, even when he talks about in Rogue One and stuff like that.
All right, moving forward. Let me figure out what button I need to click. The first critical path. Did Anakin actually bring balance to the Force when he destroyed both the Jedi and the Sith? And what does balance really mean in the Star Wars universe?
I believe he did. If you're looking at a long picture, I definitely think he definitely restored balance, because there's like, I think, what are they saying? An acolyte, there's like 10,000 active Jedis at some point or something like that. Something. It's Jedis everywhere. And no one to check them, really. You see bits and pieces of that in the Clone Wars series. They were just... yeah, I mean, 100% believe he brought balance both ways. Brought balance. He balanced it out twice, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Definitely. So, on to the next part. What does balance really look like in the Star Wars universe?
In my opinion, I believe it is free will of the Force. Everyone being able to be their own individuals and, living life, not oppressing or, just free will, pretty much. That's balance, which is it's kind of funny to say when you think about it. But yeah, that's what I believe.
Did this balance lead to, like, an age of peace, or did it just reset a cycle of killing?
Definitely a cycle. No, especially when you look at the sequel trilogy and all that. So, I've actually never thought about it like that. That's interesting. It's a cycle, kind of like Ragnarok.
Exactly.
Just die and get reborn and do it all over again.
So, if balance requires destruction, can it ever truly last?
I think so. I think it just kind of lasts in different aspects. It's not a flat circle, I guess. It's kind of like a big ocean. It's going to come in waves. It's going to be storms. It's going to be beautiful days.
If we so if we take a step back and we look at the end of Return of the Jedi, spoiler alert for a 50-year-old movie. Sorry.
Right.
We have at the very end of that one Sith and one Jedi until Vader dies. And then Luke's the only real force-wielding person in the universe. Is that balance?
Maybe it is after what Force users brought onto the galaxy.
So just getting rid of them altogether is its own form of balance?
Yeah, kind of like in nature, species go through population changes and control, and you can have invasive species take over your environment completely. Because even the Sith has had empires over the years, just like the Jedi have. They just go back. It's like they go back and forth between exchanging hands, just exchanging the baton.
Yeah, have you played the Old Republic games? Not the MMO.
Not.
Dude.
Oh,
the old BioWare games.
Yes, I played them both back in the day when I had an Xbox. They're on Game Pass.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think I have them on PlayStation now. I think. I don't remember.
First one's a little bit clunky in terms of gameplay, but the second one is probably one of the best games I've played.
Oh yeah, top tier. Well, and that's really like the beginning of BioWare doing anything worthwhile. But it gave birth to great things like Mass Effect. We wouldn't have Mass Effect without Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah, the remake's kind of in developmental limbo right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, we got the remake the remakes for Knights of the Old Republic. We haven't seen anything about it since they announced it.
I thought.
But with BioWare going through so many changes and now EA being purchased, who knows? Who knows?
I would love to see a reinvigoration of Lucasfilm Game Studios.
I would too. They made such good games.
Yeah, they did.
All right, now I'm going to pass the mic over to you. We're going to get into headcanon. It's your time to bring us your own hot take, wild theory, or something that you've always believed about Star Wars. Doesn't matter if it's serious, ridiculous, or both.
Okay. I think my hottest take, I guess, would be that I believe that the work that Disney has done since buying it gets overhated. I think the character designs, I think the world building, and there's a lot of great stuff about the sequels that I think gets overlooked simply because people want to hate. I'm not saying like the sequels are perfect and it's the best Star Wars ever, but like the Acolyte, I think the Acolyte has some of the best Star Wars choreography that I've ever seen in Star Wars. That legit has some of the best lightsaber battles ever. And it gets written off because, for different opinions on the product and the acting. Saying that the acting wasn't great in a Star Wars product is wild to me, because it's like let's not pretend like the prequels had great dialogue or anything like that. We're not, and then people want to talk about realism in Star Wars too. Like, it's just, I've said this before. For me, Star Wars is like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that would have to be my hot take. I think the sequel stuff gets a little bit overhated. I think it has really great character designs, world building, the artwork in general. Like the First Order troopers, that's sick. Mm-hmm. They look awesome.
I will say I am guilty of exactly this. When the movie came out, when 7 came out, I was so very disappointed with the direction that Disney took with it. And honestly, I don't think any of the other movies got better. I think the designs are really cool. I think it's pretty poorly written.
I agree with that 100%.
Where I start to turn on Disney owning Star Wars is in the series. Like, I think the series have been top-notch with Star Wars. The Mandalorian was it's still an all-time great-selling series. You've got the Obi-Wan season, which was incredible in its own right. I haven't seen The Acolyte yet, but that is on my list of things to watch. I've heard nothing but incredible things about it.
Yeah, it's got a full-fledged Jedi Wookiee. I think that's all I got to say.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I played this old MMO back in the day, Star Wars something, Galaxy at War maybe. I don't remember off the top of my head, but there was this old Star Wars MMO where you could play any race and you could play any character, and that was my very first character, was a Wookiee Jedi, because
nice.
Dude, they're so sick.
They are. I love Wookiees.
Yeah. Dude. But yeah, I think you may be right in the fact that it gets overhated, but I think in some aspects it has deserved the criticism that it's gotten.
Absolutely.
Not in all of them. I don't think Disney has, like, taken the series and flushed it down the tube.
Yeah, a lot of people would say that.
Yeah, and I just don't think that's true.
Well, it's like we talked about a little bit before we started planning a trilogy, not planning a trilogy and just saying, like, all right, guys, go crazy with it. It's just, that's not how you do it. Well, and it shows really bad. All the disconnections between each movie.
Well, and having 2 separate directors direct 3 movies was probably the worst plan they had come up with. Because you've got, and honestly, I think the middle one, 8, the Last Jedi.
Last Jedi.
I think that might be the highlight of the entire trilogy. You get some of the best scenes in particularly that movie. And who doesn't love Mark Hamill?
Yeah.
And then we get 9, and it's just, I don't even know what J.J. Abrams was thinking. I know he's trying to, like, tie up the series and everything, but it just didn't feel right for a Star Wars story.
Yeah. And then you find out what the original, what was Colin Trevorrow, what his plan was, Duel of the Fates, what he wanted to do, and it's like, what? You guys said no to that?
Yeah. So yeah, I think Disney has made some critical mistakes along the way.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah, again. And that was the other thing, is we were talking about it before we got on, but Disney saying none of this is canon, and then selecting specific things from the non-canon books now and saying, well, this is canon. It's in a movie. This is canon now. Really rubbed me the wrong way. Like, essentially, they just robbed authors of their rights to be canon writers for Star Wars.
Right.
No,
yeah, they do a little bit of pick and choosing of what's canon in Ahsoka too. Mm-hmm. They bring back a little bit of legend stuff in that.
Dude, Ahsoka was
with Thrawn and everything.
Ahsoka really was so good.
Mario Dawson, awesome.
Oh my god, I love her. I first saw her in Rent, which is a musical movie. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I am.
Okay, yeah, she plays the Mimi. She plays Mimi in Rent.
I'm trying to think about. I know she's a night nurse in Daredevil, but that's not the first time I saw her. She's been in a lot.
Yeah, she's been in a ton of stuff.
Yeah, great actress. I loved her as Ahsoka.
Yeah, I think it was a great choice. I'm so excited for the next season, whenever it may come. because we left her stuck somewhere. We left her stuck somewhere with no way to get back, and I want to see how she gets back and how she moves the story forward.
Yeah. Everything with Thrawn and all that, yeah.
All right. Let's move forward to our next critical path. Palpatine didn't topple the Republic with brute force. He used the systems to tear it down. Does Star Wars show us that democracy always carries the seeds of its own destruction, or that people will trade freedom for order when times get messy?
Yeah, I think democracy always carries the seeds of its own destruction. I think I'd have to agree with that. Just even looking at past real world history, every empire usually crumbles by its own means, right? Whether they're spread too thin or someone bigger and smarter came along and undermined them, similar to what Palpatine did to the Republic.
Oh, and we see that with the Romans, like their republic. We see that a lot with the Romans Republic, where things just kind of got messy. And then with things getting messy, you get the Goths coming in and crumbling the entire Roman Empire. But I do think that ties in, honestly, almost perfectly with what we see in the Republic, especially in that scene in 3. This is how democracy dies, at thundering applause.
Even in Andor as well, Mon Mothma, the fight that she has to, I mean, not even a fight, she's just grasping at straws, pretty much trying to keep the Senate at least somewhat a little bit of power for the people.
Yeah.
But I don't know if people would necessarily exchange freedom for order. I think people get power hungry and they are willing to sacrifice others' freedom for their own order and control.
I can actually see that as well. I don't disagree with that. So, at the time when Palpatine took power, was the Republic worth saving, or was it already rotting from the inside?
It was definitely already rotting from the inside. There was the Empire didn't bring in anything new. Whenever they started doing slave and spice trading and all that stuff, they just pretty much started regulating what was already there. Even what the more constant thing than the Empire or the Republic is the hut space. They no matter who's in control, they always bend the knee to the huts, and they're the biggest black market crime syndicate in the galaxy. So it's
Don't mess with a hut.
No, especially the new buff one in the new Mandalorian movie.
Yeah.
Rota, I think.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I think it's Rota the hut. I think that's going to be the hut that's in the Mandalorian.
I'd be down with that. Like, we've seen so much of Jabba. I think Jabba might be a little oversold at this point.
Yeah, and then the twins and Boba Fett, they were pretty funny. I liked them.
Mm-hmm. So, do empires rise because leaders are strong, or because citizens are afraid?
I think it's a combination of both. Not to play the gray area, but I think you'll have an opportunistic individual look at a society and realize that they can take advantage of those scared citizens. Just like Palpatine did. Even in the comics, when they have that huge celebration in front of the Jedi Temple where they're burning all the Jedi sabers. They're making it a big thing, and all the citizens, you see them cheering on Coruscant. They're all going crazy and everything.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts to think when we look at Palpatine's taking over of the Galactic Senate and then the Republic after that, just how smooth that transition was. But he had also already been laying the seeds for 20 plus years at that point, because like we see him in the very beginning in the first movie, paying the Trade Federation to make this already a dangerous situation for the Galactic Senate.
Yep.
So I think Palpatine, I don't know if Palpatine is the strongest. Like, I won't deny his power, but I don't know if he's the strongest and more of a silver tongue. He's much more manipulative than...
Oh, yeah.
He kind of reminds me of the Saruman of Star Wars, where Saruman uses his tongue to get his way. Palpatine does the same thing.
Manipulation, right?
Yeah.
That's why he that's why he nerfed Vader during the surgeries.
Yep.
Because he knew if he properly restored Vader, it would only be a matter of time before he overpowered him, and he still did it anyway.
And he still...
of his own...
Yep.
What does Luke tell him? Your own arrogance will be... Where he tells him in the throne room.
You're undoing.
Yes. Then Palpatine starts back. Yeah, he gets mad. And Luke rage baits Palpatine in the throne room. That's literally what happened to him.
Great movie. Great movie. Oh my god. I love the original trilogy so much.
Oh, and don't forget, it's also a little bit of Jar Jar's fault that Palpatine got so much power. There's that specific scene where he needs to propose a new emergency order.
So this isn't a part of the question, but I do have I kind of want to dig into Jar Jar a minute. What do you think of the fan theory? And I feel like you already know where I'm going. What do you think of the fan theory that says that Jar Jar is the big bad Sith Lord?
I love it. It's hilarious. I love that it's been made. I think it's made canon a couple times now in Lego Star Wars, and even in Fortnite, he was a secret skin you could unlock. I could see it. I don't know about big bad, but maybe like an agent of Palpatine or Sidious, because just the way he kind of just shows up and guy falls into a political... I mean, doesn't everyone fall into a political position nowadays? No, but yeah, he becomes a senator just by happening to be there. He becomes a powerful senator by having his ass saved by the Jedi.
Oh, so, man. Yeah.
Just the coincidence of it all is very, very crazy.
To think, if Qui-Gon Jinn had just not tackled him,
right,
we wouldn't have any of the rest of the series. It's insane to think about that.
So much to blame on Qui-Gon. Damn it, Qui-Gon.
What a great good guy, though. I love Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good Jedi.
All right.
He would have been a great Jedi, probably.
He would have been an incredible Jedi to have in the rest of the series, especially with like all of Anakin's turmoil moving forward and Obi-Wan not knowing how to deal with it. Qui-Gon had dealt with this. Qui-Gon dealt with it with Lord Tyrannus.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have loved to have seen...
He probably would have became Grand Master eventually, in my opinion.
Oh, Yoda would have had to die first. And
yeah. But I could see him like challenging, be like, no, Yoda, you're almost 1,000 years old. You don't even know what you had for breakfast. Let's get out of here. I mean, because what Anakin literally talks to you like, hey, these dreams are these. I'm feeling like, and I'm feeling the dark side. And Yoda's just like, don't worry about it, man. Come on. Pull up your britches.
We'll be
got a
fine.
war to go fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing is the Jedi were never
stuff it down.
The Jedi were never made to, or they weren't supposed to be soldiers in a war. Like they're peacekeepers. So I think that also had a lot to do with at the very least, the fall of the Jedi and the rise of the Empire is they stuck their necks out where they shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what, Ahsoka was 13, 12 years old, leading battalions into war.
And that's ridiculous.
Same with Cal Kestis, who might have been even younger.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And the Jedi, they kidnapped tons of kids. They straight up just took kids from families.
Yeah, I mean, the Mandalorians aren't even that bad, man. Like, they would adopt kids, but these kids were already destitute or orphans.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh man, I hadn't actually considered that. Where they just show up and they're like, "Hey, your kid's force sensitive. He needs to come with us." I have never
if they even speak
that.
their language.
Yeah,
they went to so many Outer Rim worlds and all that.
dang.
That's a whole plot point of Fallen Order series. They're trying to keep that list of force sensitive children away from the Emperor and Vader.
I have not played either of them.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Great games.
It was at that time, it was right around that time because we had just gotten Battlefront 2. And I was like, dude, EA is dropping the ball hard. So that was one of the games that, in protest, I did not play.
Yeah, it is EA. It is EA, but it's Respawn. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's Respawn, and it's really good. It's if you played Elden Ring, right?
I didn't play Elden Ring, but I played Titanfall.
Gotcha. It's kind of like it's a little bit of a Souls-like Star Wars game. There's like campfires and really clean game mechanics.
That might have to be something I go and check out. I know we got it for free not long ago, maybe a year ago, so I've definitely got it.
Also, Cal and Marin are like a super hot couple. That's another plus of this series. But yeah, that's a great story in itself.
Yeah, I'll probably have to check that out. All right. Let's move forward to our canon court. Canon court is in session, so tonight's case is the Jedi were wrong. The Sith were more honest. Hendo, how do you feel?
Oh man, I was on board until you said the Sith were more honest. that really turned me on my head. I agree 100% that the Sith were, or not, that the Jedi were wrong. I think that just shows based on how easily they were taken apart from the inside. I mean, what kind of, like you said, they were never meant to be war generals. They were never meant to be warriors, and they get this whole clone army bestowed upon them. They just take it, no questions asked, and then turns out that's what put them in. Just arrogance, thinking that they were untouchable and that everything they were doing was right.
But you disagree. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just kind of like what we were just talking about. They would kidnap children as well. They would deny Jedis of emotional attachments, which led to many being cold-hearted killing machines.
So, but you disagree with my second premise that the Sith were more honest.
Yes, I do disagree with that. Everything about the dark side is based on deceiving and lying for manipulation and gaining control over the other. Even basic Sith rules like the rule of two, it's literally like, oh, you're supposed to take out the guy who's been mentoring you so you can become stronger. So yeah, Sith being honest, I wouldn't go that far. Maybe more cutthroat.
Which we did cover earlier. That rule of two did not always exist. Like we see it in the Knights of the Old Republic. You don't have that rule of two.
Yep, because who started? Was it August that started it? Maybe.
Maybe.
I get confused with old legends and who
Well, and
brought in what. But yeah, you're right.
it's not canon anymore, so.
Yeah, right. Yeah, my bad. But no, like yeah, even like what in the MMO, is that is the MMO the one with the really good cinematic cutscenes?
Yes. And that one's
Yeah,
just
those-
called The Old Republic.
Okay, that's the one with it's the twins, right? And the dad is a really, really strong Sith Lord.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Even the cutscenes during that, so how many? What, when they invade the Jedi Temple? How many Star Wars lightsabers do we see come to the back of that ship that are red? It's like 20, 30 Siths that barge into there, and yeah, even you'll see whole battlefields of Sith and Jedi. But the Sith weren't. They weren't always like in the shadows like Palpatine had them in. They used to be they had an empire. They're very much like the Jedi. They were very boastful. But yeah.
So
Kind of like what we were saying earlier, balance.
So the reason I stand by this premise that the Sith were more honest is because the Sith code is essentially just blunt truths about human nature. Whereas the Jedi code is all about rejecting human nature.
So I don't know why, but you saying that codes made me think of like the pirate codes. Pirates, they were kind of the criminals, they're kind of sketchy individuals, but like you said, they were honest. Now, honesty doesn't always mean that it's good. So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying 100%.
So, does the Jedi's ban on attachments make them hypocritical?
Yes, very much so.
I think so too.
It's such a basic human thing to deny, especially going through a war like that. You're just supposed to just be okay with it, not even talking I can't even imagine. They talk about in the Kenobi series a little bit the PTSD that these beings get from in these wars is just insane, and then you're just like, well, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to think about it. Like,
yeah, that's a hard thing to ask, especially somebody like Anakin, who's human born. Like, he doesn't have any alien physiology to just drop.
Yeah, and he was a slave.
Yep. Like, he's got a ton of PTSD.
Yeah, that's first see it when he takes out all the sand, Tusken, right? The Raider village.
So I think you touched on this a little bit when you brought up pirates, but can honesty be respected even when it's destructive?
I think it kind of is just by default, yeah. Because respect can mean so many things, whether being fearful of it or admiring it.
Well, and yeah, I think being honest and being wrong, like just not wrong in what you say, but wrong in the actions that you take, is the same kind of comparison that we see with kind and goodness, because being good does not always mean being kind, and being honest does not always mean being destructive, but they can.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head.
All right. Critical path number 3. Should the Jedi have accepted attachments as a strength, rather than rejecting them as a weakness? What would the Order have looked like if they had embraced love and connection instead of fearing it?
I wouldn't be kidnapping mass children.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not being able to have an attachment to anything, but even then whether they wouldn't wanted to admit it or not, they still broke their own rules. Look at Obi-Wan and Anakin. They were best friends. They had friendships with the clones. The clones had their whole thing was that we're all brothers. So for them just to look around, being in the presence of attachments in the middle of war and being like, nah, you can't have that, was one of the many things that led them to having, like you said, that lack of empathy and just no real connection to the people that they were supposed to be protecting. You can't be an automaton just with no emotions, because emotions lead to logical factoring and all that.
Well, and humans especially rely on emotions for so many of their, like, critical functions. I mean, fear teaches us what's wrong, what we should avoid. Love teaches us what we should embrace and what we should get closer to. So asking especially a human like Anakin, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, asking any of them to be like, well, just ignore the humanity of being human and embrace this clone-esque ideal.
Yep.
So the second half of that question, what would the Order have looked like if they embraced love and connection instead of fearing it? Do you think, I know you said they probably wouldn't kidnap children, do you think they would have invited entire families to stay at the Jedi Temple instead of just, like, taking Anakin? Would Shmi and Anakin have been able to go?
Probably, yeah. I mean, I can't remember if Qui-Gon, like, offers it to his mom or not.
Qui-Gon tries to get Guido to free them both. And then Guido...
right?
Yeah, Guido pulls out the die and says,
Gotcha.
Red is Anakin, blue is Shmi.
Guido.
Yeah.
But I think the Order would have been way more sympathetic with the people. Probably would have been downscaled a lot in terms of their, like, peacekeeping force. Their military forces pretty much would have been way more downscaled. Maybe they would have allocated those resources to improving the Outer Rim worlds and getting rid of the crime that's out there, if they had a little bit more compassion whenever they went out there.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, instead of just turning a blind eye to it and seeing whatever they can get.
Would Anakin and Padme's story have played out differently if attachment wasn't forbidden?
Yeah, probably, because Anakin doesn't go to the dark side seeking to save his wife, right? Because he tried. Except he tried to go to Yoda. Yoda was like, sorry, man, can't help you. What happens is going to happen. You're just going to have to keep having those dreams about your wife dying.
And when it comes to fruition, you're just going to have to let go.
Yeah, it's... And even Obi-Wan knew that him and Padme were the thing.
The whole time.
Yeah. At least say hello to Padme for me this time, whenever Anakin's leaving. But yeah, it would have been way different. Luke and Leia probably would have been raised by a nuclear family.
Yeah.
With Uncle Ben coming over to visit them.
Shoot. See, yeah, that has huge implications for the original series. That has huge implications for the original series. I mean, but even then, even when Ben is training Luke, we see some of that old world Jedi like talking points kind of bleed into that. So,
yeah.
So do attachments create vulnerability or resilience?
I think both.
Both? I think that's a solid answer. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I think both, because it's kind of like why superheroes keep their identity a secret, right? So the villains can't get to the to their girl or to their families, but also kind of like you need something to want to fight for. Can't just look what happens. That's a Jedi just got told to go be a peacekeeping corps. We all saw how that turned out. So I think it's definitely both.
So how does this question land in our own real lives? Do connections ground us or expose us?
I think the experiences we have with connections ground us. And I also think bad experiences with attachments can also expose us. You could, like for example, you could be in a relationship and then your SO cheats on you. That's an attachment getting exposed, and it hurts a lot.
Yeah.
Like recently for me, I had to buckle down and figure out what the hell I wanted to do in terms of my career, and I did that because of the attachment to my son. So, but also there's weakness in that where I feel like if I fail, then I fail him. So attachments are they're both
double-edged sword.
Yeah, I feel like I've been saying that a lot, but I just can't shake it. It's a double-edged sword, yeah, like you said.
Well, and I think a lot of things in life are like that, where we, especially attachments, when we get attached to something or someone and that thing is somehow ripped away, or you know that it's going to go, you begin to act differently.
Yeah.
But, I mean, using my mom as an example, I love the shit out of my mom. I would do anything for that woman. And I recognize that someday I won't be able to. And that's a scary thought. But
yeah, you're right.
At the same time, I'm prepared for that eventuality. I know it's going to happen.
The way you're able to maturely approach that, in my opinion, lets you able to be even more appreciative of the time that you do have.
Agreed.
Because any of us could go. I could have a gas leak in my house right now, and this would end really abruptly. But no, yeah, it's important to have it because it keeps us human.
It's what makes us human. I agree. I 100% agree with that. All right. Now that we've gotten through some really deep topics, let's move back to some lighthearted stuff. Looking ahead, what does the Star Wars galaxy look like 100 years after Rey becomes the first gray Jedi? Would there be more Jedis, more Sith, or something entirely new?
I think it's going to be something entirely new. I think it's not. It's going to be Force users, and everyone's going to have their own factions. I feel like we'll see what happens with Rey. She, 100 years. She'd be like 120 something by then, right?
120, 130, somewhere in there, yeah.
But 100 years, I want to see Mandalore Grogu. I want to see him having the dark saber. I want to see him in his full Mandalorian armor. But yeah, I think we would see more of that. More of people like Grogu, where they are a Force user and they're also a Mandalorian, and they also lead the Mandalorians. I feel like a good thing for Rey would be bunker down, study up, actually learn to be a great Jedi, get training from Ahsoka, whatever you got to do.
So Google says she's 21 during the events of The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. about 120, 121. Yeah, that's a long time to live. So who knows? But 100 years in reality isn't really that long in the Star Wars universe. But it also isn't, because the Empire only ruled for like what, 20 years?
Yeah, I mean,
Roughly 20, 30 years.
yeah, probably a little less than, because I think
But the Republic was thousands.
Luke is 17 or 18, or meant to be 17 or 18. Obviously, Mark Hamill is not 17 or 18. But
I'll go down to Toshi Station.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. But yeah, exactly. He's just becoming an adult. He wants to go become part of the military. 100 years of training would be crazy. So do you think the
23 years. That's how long the Empire. Sorry, I just looked it up real quick.
You're good. See, and 23 years is not like it's when we look at the Star Wars universe, it's really a microscopic amount of time. I mean, it's nothing at all. So, in that 100 years, do you think the Force itself would evolve, or just the way that they used it?
Oh, 100% it would evolve. Just, I mean, look at what Grogu was able to do. Heal people. No one has ever been able to do that until we see him do it. So, it's kind of, I guess the best way to explain it would be look at modern day athletes. Look at the athletes from 20 years ago, and then look at the athletes from 40 years ago. You put LeBron James in a pickup basketball game in the 60s, they're gonna assume that he's a T1000 or something like that. And I feel like that's a really good point. I feel like that's kind of what it would be, because like 100 years of training, Grogu is supposed to live to be like 900 years plus based on Yoda.
Yeah.
He's 50 years old, and he is pretty much a 5-year-old. He can talk through the Force and stuff like that, but that's just like a that's what I was talking about, with a fully fledged out geek Grogu Mandalorian jumping around like a ketamine frog with the dark saber, and then he rides a Rancor in a battle.
I'm with it. I'm so for it, man. I'm ready. Oh my goodness. Cute little Grogu. I can only imagine what great things he's going to do when he finally comes of age.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing that Disney has done in terms of Star Wars, is giving us a character that's everyone falls in love with, and now we get to see him grow.
Yeah.
Grogu grow.
Oh, you could have like a jump Magikarp game with Grogu where you just make it bigger. I could see that. So, will the galaxy ever outgrow the Jedi and the Sith entirely?
I think so, but it's gonna probably take a long time just because of how entrenched both of those groups of people are in the history of the galaxy. It's kind of impossible to ignore it, especially with the Force. Maybe not outgrow, I guess transform. I feel like those two things would transform, kind of like with Rey being a gray Jedi Grandmaster now.
So, for reference purposes, the sequel trilogy happens about 30 years after the Battle of Yavin.
Good chunk of time.
It's a good chunk of time, but even still, we see the First Order come back, and they're in full force. You've still got a Jedi living and walking around, although he's not doing much. He is just kind of there.
It's kind of like what the Mandalorian shows us, right? Empire kind of really never went away.
Never went away.
Just went into the shadows.
Yeah. What would a truly post-Empire galaxy look like?
A truly post-Empire galaxy?
Like, the Empire's forgotten completely.
Excuse me.
You're good. It's a difficult thing to consider, I think, because the way we look at Star Wars, especially now with the information that we have, it's so entrenched in there being this, for lack of a better phrase, Empire solid ground. The Empire always has been and always will be for people who have watched the movies, especially for the older generation who watched the Empire. That's what they grew up on.
Yeah.
And then the prequels were kind of along the same lines and play into the same story.
Well, I think if, we could take real world examples. Have we forgotten evil empires in our past? I mean, we still experience evil regimes today, today. And I think what struck me about that question is would it even be possible for them to forget about the Empire? Because, I mean, the Death Star blown up twice. That's a story you're going to hear through generations forever. And it's just the impact that they had on the worlds that they mined for their minerals, and look at it what happened with species that were enslaved a lot, like Wookiees and stuff like that. It has lasting effects that are still there even long after the Empire is gone. So it's tough. I feel like a post Empire galaxy it would be paradise pretty much, right? I mean, for the galaxy to be able to get to the point where it's evil bad guys and all that terrible stuff, that's a thing of the past. But like I said earlier, the Empire didn't bring in anything new when they brought in slave trade and all that stuff. That stuff was already there. So
they just brought it to new parts of the galaxy.
Yeah. So it's tough to say. It's tough to say. I don't know if a post-Empire galaxy truly exists. Because you could have someone read about. They would have to be erasing their own history for that to happen, that draws some ethical problems. You start erasing your own history.
I mean, but it is something that we saw during the Fall of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So, yes, you're creating ethical problems, but it's not something that's unheard of in the Star Wars universe.
100%. Yeah, you're right.
All right, Hendo, we're almost finished. We're going to move into our poll. Our poll for this week is, which Star Wars trilogy is the greatest? The original, the prequel, or the sequel?
Man. 8-year-old Hendo is screaming at him right now. I think I'd have to say the original. Because as much as I love the prequels, is some of that dialogue boring. What is it, the first 20 minutes of The Phantom Menace is talking about trade regulation and blockades and all that stuff. And then, I mean, we wouldn't have what we had without the original trilogy. So I have to respect the OG. I think it's the best. It's the easiest rewatchable one in my opinion.
I actually really agree. I think the original trilogy holds a very special place in my heart. Obviously, the prequels do as well because, I mean, we're about the same age. I was growing up on that. I remember going to see Episode 3 in theaters on release night with my dad. So, like, it's definitely nostalgic for me, but the original trilogy was so good.
Yeah.
And it's set
It's
up...
like
Oh, go ahead.
the prequels are like that one game you had from your childhood, and you go back and play one, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna love this. And you're like, oh, these controls suck. This feels weird. This is so slow. And like, I have to get through this to get all the good parts. Man, nostalgia's a huge blinder. That happened when I played New Vegas recently. I was like, wow, do I miss the Fallout 4 engine?
Yeah, which I'm really excited for Fallout 3 in the Fallout 4 engine. I think that's going to be really good because Fallout 3's got that same issue.
Yes, the metro tunnels.
Yeah.
Definitely the original. It's so much as like look at all we got from Obi-Wan simply saying, I fought in the Clone Wars with him. We got so much just from that one line drop.
Yeah.
It's the root for the tree of life for Star Wars.
After we finish, I'll look something up on YouTube and send it to you. But it's essentially a short YouTube series called "What If the Prequels Were Actually Good?" And dude, the guy who came up with the story for "What If the Prequels Were Actually Good" is incredible. It's the best story I've ever seen, and not to give anything away, but it's another thing that Disney just said, you know what? I think we're going to use this.
Right.
So, original trilogy, obviously. Best trilogy in Star Wars. No votes for the sequel trilogy, which is exactly how it should be.
Yeah, that's what I expected. Cool designs can't save plots.
Yep. Or just not knowing where you're going with anything.
I think one of the problems with the sequels is too many glup shittos.
Yeah.
Too many like, who? What? Okay, bye. We're never gonna see you again. Thanks for your 2 scenes in the like in Rise of Skywalker, that Poe's former thing just pops out of nowhere, and it's like, oh, what are you doing talking to Finn's boyfriend? Leave him alone.
So before we wrap up, let's talk about the future. We're in the era of Disney Plus shows, High Republic novels, and constant rumors. Do you think Star Wars should keep expanding forever, or does it risk diluting the saga? And where should it go from here?
Yeah, no, definitely. You gotta expand. We can't stay on Tatooine forever, can we? As much as they seem like they want us to. Yeah, you could do so much with Star Wars. I would love to see like a dark horror movie in Star Wars.
Oh,
I want to
cool.
About that the virus that Palpatine tried to weaponize, and it just turned everyone into these freakish zombies. That's a great Star Wars
I think
legend story.
I think I'd like to see like a Wampa slasher flick. I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be good too. Like, I mean, a Rancor terrorizing like a small village, and they have to fight back against it, and like, I think one of the best things you got about that is Mandalorian taking the elements that you already have there in front of you and being able to form a whole new great story entirely is one of the strengths of Star Wars. And you can, like what they're doing now, they're going into the High Republic, and then we can still just go into the future. You can go anywhere with Star Wars. So I think it should always be expanding.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what Disney Plus does next with it. I think it's a franchise that they've done really good by, if we forget completely about the movies. Like,
yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like a coin toss every time Disney does something with Star Wars. No idea what side it's going to land on.
Yeah. Would you rather see something in a brand new era, or stories around more familiar characters, which is what they've done recently, like not with the Solo and Rogue One, we get these very familiar characters, these very familiar stories. A Darth Nihilus story would be really good, Hops.
It would. I don't want to spoil too much about that. It seems like that's what they're leading into a little bit in Ahsoka, actually. I think I'm ready for a new era. I don't. What else haven't we covered? Like they've kind of they had to use the Disney Plus shows to fix the sequels, which is kind of crazy, but it worked in their favor, in my opinion. We got some good stuff out of that. We got Moff Gideon, we got the Dark Troopers. But yeah, I think I'm ready for a new era.
I am too. I'm really ready for a new era.
I mean,
oh, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was there's I think we've got enough of the current era that we're in. I'm ready to move on. It's almost like they need to. I think a soft reboot in Star Wars would be a good thing. Kind of like a forest fire, let it burn.
I'd be happy with that as well. And I think with the end of 9 and Rey being like the only Jedi left standing, that's kind of what they've set up for the next series of movies. Is this kind of very blank slate? Let's see where it goes.
Yeah, and then they can leave it there. We can go back. We can go do all the cool High Republic stuff, and then we can see what the future is going to look like.
I agree. So, is Star Wars strongest when it stays mythic or when it experiments?
I think when it experiments. I love me some out of the box Star Wars stuff. It's a big freaking universe, man. There's lots of weird stuff out there. There's paranormal stuff. There's, even the Legends. There's other galaxies. There's other universes. And foes come from those universes. There's a whole, I can't think of their name right now, but there's that whole race of aliens that are just immune to the Force. The Force does nothing to them, and it's terrifying.
I'd be so down with that, like, because
the Vizon. I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of. It's literally like Palpatine. It's a Legends thing, and they scare Palpatine. Like that's why in Legend, that's why he tries to do what he does with the Empire.
I think they do have some like missed ground in, especially the horror field. Because there's so much you can do with Star Wars in like a horror-esque fashion.
Yuuzhan Vong, that's what they were. They were resistant to the Force, and they had way more advanced technology than anything that we had in our own galaxy.
Like the Reapers.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, the Reapers were like force of nature more than anything, right?
They're designed by something. In Mass Effect, they're designed by something. Some great creator built them, and then they went out into dark space and came back every 50,000 years and eliminated everything.
Yeah, I haven't played the Mass Effect games. That was a shot in the dark for me there.
Yeah, you're good, man. You got pretty freaking close, So, if you, Hendo, could greenlight one project tomorrow, what would it be?
I think I would have I want an R-rated cosmic Star Wars horror movie. You could even do like a horror movie from the perspective of the stormtroopers after they crash on Endor, having to deal with. They got eaten by the Ewoks.
Well, Endor, Felucia, I could see some really good stuff with that.
Yeah, the bag is endless.
Man, you're right, dude. They could do anything. They could honestly do anything.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Man. I'm excited to see what they do next.
I am as well. Always excited for Star Wars.
All right, Hendo. That's Canon and Cogito for tonight. Thank you so very much for joining me on this trip.
Anytime. I had a blast. It was awesome talking about Star Wars.
Yeah. I had a really good time. Any final words for the listeners? Where can they find you online?
I am Hendalorian. You can find me on Twitch at _Hendalorian. Obviously, I'm a huge Star Wars nerd. I guess if I would say one thing to the viewers in terms of Star Wars related is never give up hope. Goodness always prevails. This is the way.
This is the way. Awesome. Thank you. I cannot thank you much, I cannot thank you enough. If you liked this episode, you can catch Canon and Cogito live on Twitch right here, Windorf_Jenkins, and follow the show on YouTube and Spotify. At the end of the day, the worlds we talk about are all fiction, but kindness is real. Please take care of each other out there.
Yes.
I'm Josh. I think, therefore, fandom. We'll see you next time.
There's a going back to the Jedi Fallen Orders game, and the second one, there's a side mission, actually very, very heartbreaking. You find these audio logs of two Jedi Knights talking about like how they we can't keep meeting like this, but I love it. It was very heartbreaking to hear them talk. They were in love and they weren't allowed to be.
I hate that. Fucking Jedi.